Now my mind is blown, no surprise.
Hello, fitness family, and welcome back to the channel. Hi, can I go ahead and say, besides Happy New Year 2025, fuck 2024. Let's just say that a big F you hell. Where to begin? This fitness journey is starting off. I stepped on the scale this morning and I was so incredibly
disgusted with myself
because I let myself fail again. I just got this book. It's called Know Your Worth by Angie Belmar. If you haven't checked her out, she is a wonderful person and has a wonderful line of journals and things to get your ish back together. And in one portion of the Know Your Worth chapters, it said to write a letter to yourself. And when I did write a letter to myself, it specifically said, "I'm sorry I let you down again." And that's what I did. I didn't do enough to save me from getting right back to where I was in 2021. And that makes me so sad. Bubby, don't come in here talking. We're recording. Let's start back. Let's trace back 2023. We had just come back from a very long, strenuous trip to Mexico. For some reason, I decided we needed to do a road trip style vacation, and it was amazing. It very much was, but that was the beginning of the sickness for me. There was one night in particular. It was the night we were going to go eat at this restaurant that I had been looking forward to all year called the Kitchen Table. So we ate at the Kitchen Table Tulum. I'd actually reserved this for my birthday dinner. The drinks were absolutely amazing. I unfortunately got very sick. It was an outside jungle environment. All the meats and things were smoked. There was fresh baked bread. It was very Mayan influenced. It was just, I was so excited. And the moment I stepped into this restaurant, I got through the first course and became terribly ill. I was so embarrassed. Upon returning home, let's backtrack a little bit.
What has just happened?
Well, randomly we got hives all over neck and shoulders. Got scared about it.
September, I noticed when my autoimmune disease was actually attempting to really shine. You can see them really bad. Look how bad it just happened so quickly. And you can kind of see it right now. See, I have not been out in the sun, y'all. Look at this. Look what, oh, there she is. She's back. She's there. She's saying hello to y'all once more. It was September 2023. I stopped fitness vlogging because that was when my health started to trickle down and I could not reach my head back above water. Coming home from Tulum, the rash continued to get worse. I'll throw some photos up where you guys can see. I sat there in agony. It felt like the worst sunburn you could ever possibly have. It spread across my face, mimicking a lupus style redness where you get the whole butterfly across the face. It was across my face. It was all down my neck. It would get on my shoulders. It was like every day it decided it wanted to go a little bit further down my body. And until it absolutely had reached my feet, I was like, that's it. I can't wait another day. I had not had health insurance for 2 years, which means I had not been taking my thyroid medication for 2 years. I was trying to heal myself as organically as I possibly could. I got down to 137 pounds after weighing in, topping out at 184 in 2021. I found a doctor that would take me in. He ran so many panels of tests. He saw the water retention. He saw the rash. He saw all of the mental issues I was going through. I was having massive panic attacks. The panic attacks would last anywhere between 2 to 6 hours. If you want to get into my headspace, if you bend your back over like this and then imagine someone taking your spine and just twisting it, and then also carrying an 800-pound backpack where the straps were just digging into your shoulders, that's what the panic attacks felt like and they were excruciating. So I get on Prozac to help, and I'm still on that as well, to maintain the panic attacks, which if you are having any type of anxiety, I do 100% stand behind it. It has worked for me. It may not work for you. There are days where the bitch comes out and I cannot help the panic attacks. So I have a secondary antidepressant to take during said attacks. The panel shows that my low level Hashimoto's disease has now hit critical level Hashimoto's disease. Tested for lupus and it came back negative. All of the panels that were taken, it was just so confusing and so off the charts, and the rash would not stop. And still to this day, we are confused why it shows up. She shows up almost daily now. Normally around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would track what I was eating, what I was drinking, the amount of stress I was under at that particular time. Nothing was triggering this freaking rash. Now, as you can see, it's 9:50 in the morning and she's shown up. So we get my thyroid levels back down to a norm. I am on Synthroid, which I take every morning. On top of having the anxiety and the rash and starting to gain weight very slowly, now we have hot fire flames building up in our chest, and it's just wonderful. At one point, my doctor assumed it was it could be gallbladder disease. On top of that, I'm wearing a heart monitor because the panic attacks before Prozac really truly kicked in. The panic attacks had me sitting at 162 beats per minute, sitting just like this. Completely calm. Yes, crippling anxiety, I'm telling you guys. We end up in February getting scheduled for a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. I can't pronounce it. We figure out that I have contracted H. pylori. More than likely, I caught it when I was in Mexico. More than likely, it was that exact night that I went to eat my birthday dinner. That's probably when it started. H. pylori is very, very contagious. You can transfer it to other people just by being around them. Thank God my husband didn't catch it for some reason. It was crazy. But yes, it was a massive bacterial infection inside of my stomach. I ended up having to take medication for a week, went back, retested for it. I'm fine. At this point, my abdomen has been swelling since, let's say November 2023. It's starting to mimic maybe a 2-month pregnant pooch. Let's say that. I am having intense pain around my rectum. I'm having intense pain in my stomach. I cannot go number 2 by myself. Colonoscopy showed that everything was fine. Of course. Isn't that always the situation? Oh, it's just in your head, isn't it? Yeah, great. So months go by, we're still continuing to look at my blood panels, testing my thyroid. It started every six weeks, and then now it's every three months, now that we've got my levels very steady. But the pain does not stop and the weight does not stop coming. She's hitting full force now. I'm in my 140 mark here in March, April, and my menstrual cycles, sorry men, my menstrual cycles are every 2 weeks. The first 3 days of my cycle, you might as well say that I was attempting to give birth to nothing. I had my tubes tied when I was 21 because at that point I had had 3 children. My cycles have been horrible, and now in March, April, my stomach is starting to look like I am about 5 months pregnant. The pain is intense. I fought my doctor. So bad. He ended up doing a swab to check me for what have you. I found out that my colonoscopy doctor actually can do a hysterectomy, but of course your insurance isn't going to cover it unless there's something very crazy going on with you. You can't just up and ask for a hysterectomy. The doctor, he's an old school doctor. He does agree to do the hysterectomy. I tell him all of the pain I continue to have. I'm passing massive size blood clots every month. I can't leave the house the first 3 days of my cycle. Yeah, it's painful for me to even talk about, but let's go ahead and take a fresh breath because I don't have to worry about that anymore. At the last minute, says to me, and it was the most discouraging moment of my entire life, he says, go ahead and get your doctor to do a swab on you. Let's make sure that everything's okay before we go in. And then a week before we are to schedule my surgery, he says that he does it old school style, which is the cutting of the abdomen. I still had scarring in my belly button from having my tubal ligation done in 2003. I was under the understanding that you can have your hysterectomy completed through your previous scarring in order to eliminate any other type of scarring. He says the only way he does is that way. And he said, being who I am and at my age, he does not want to mess up my stomach. So he declines doing the surgery. On top of that, during that same week, I find out from my regular doctor after the swab that I have tested positive for precancerous cellular growth. He basically says, let's keep an eye on it. Of course, he's just a general doctor. He doesn't know. The colonoscopy doctor then comes back to me, the one that declines doing the surgery, comes back to me and says, there's this great woman who normally will assist him in surgeries. She is a gynecologist. She does surgeries. And because of this woman, and I don't want to cry, but because of this woman and the fact that I finally sat down and somebody listened to me, because it was not in my head. I should not have felt this way. I should not have had a cycle every 2 weeks. I should not have had a cycle for 8 to 10 days long. I should not have been completely struck down, laying on a heating pad, crying my eyes out for 3 to 4 days every few weeks. It was excruciating. I felt like I was dying. Previously, I had been diagnosed with a prolapsed uterus. I was always told, it's in your head, it's in your head, it's in your head. This woman, she says, this great soul says to me, let's go ahead and get an internal ultrasound completed to let me know exactly what we're going to be going into. The ultrasound comes back showing an a massive amount of scarring. She, at this point, is either saying it could be adenomyosis or endometriosis. If it's either of those, even if she were to do a full hysterectomy, there's a possibility that it could come back regardless. My autoimmune disease loves to screw around with any type of surgery I have. My body is an overachiever in that regard. I lost all vision in my eye in 2017. I had a firecracker hit me when I was 7, had silicone placed into it. My autoimmune disease attacked my eye. The silicone that was placed in my eye to keep it round, that disintegrated, turned into cottage cheese. Yes, trigger warning, gross. After that, a gas bubble was placed into it. Again, my body attacked it and popped the bubble, another retinal detachment. Third time, they were like, look, let's just watch it and see how this goes. Okay. Cataract shows up 2016. I have that removed in 2017. And then they say, we should be okay now. But at this point, I have lost 90% of my vision. A month goes by and a secondary cataract happens. And this is a rarity because most of the time, this doesn't even happen in like older people who get cataracts. So at this point, they laser the cataract out. I lose all vision in my left eye. Please, Lulu, don't hit this, okay? Okay. So rolling back, she says that this meiosis could very well come back. She is confident I can keep my ovaries so that I do not go into menopause prematurely. Yes, I'm sitting here at 42 thinking about going through menopause, hot flashes, all of that stuff on top of the panic attack. So I'm like, oh my God, this is just going to be the worst ever. She wanted to say hello to y'all, apparently. So she fights for me. Insurance covers it. I think it was well over $25,000 surgery. It would have been out of pocket. Dr. Ragu, thank you for saving my life. When we were 3 days out from surgery, she said some of my blood tests came back. And if I start my menstrual cycle and if I am in any pain, this is on the Friday before my surgery's on Monday. If I am in any pain, to immediately get to the emergency room. At this point, I'm like, what the hell is going on? What did she see that she's trying to shield me from? Thank God, nothing happened that weekend. So Monday I have the surgery. I'm coming out of the surgery. I was told that my cervix was completely removed and sent to a laboratory, and my uterus had been removed. I kept my ovaries, of course, so that I don't go into premenopause. She was able to go in and do the surgery through my cervix. She cut through my belly button. I had, I believe, three additional scarring around my stomach area, one on one hip, one on the other hip, and one right above my bladder. Of course, at this point, I'm relieved. I'm finally going to have relief. It was the worst freaking night of my life because of the pain I was feeling because of the gases that were traveling through my body, trying to find their escape. All of the paperwork comes back. All of the lab tests come back. It's kind of weird thinking about my uterus being laid out on a table and kind of looked at. So we have precancerous cellular growth in my uterine wall. We have precancerous cellular growth that mimicked a small fetus inside of my uterus. We have found a tumor in my cervix. We as in us, me and you. My aunt died of cervical cancer. My grandmother died from toxic shock to the fact that she had heart issues. They could not go in and perform an emergency hysterectomy on her because there was a possibility she could have died during surgery, and she ended up dying anyway. Toxic shock. Her uterus completely came out of her cervix. Yes, trigger warning. I remember that first initial doctor's appointment where she said, "We got it all." Had I not fought hard enough for this to be done, it would have ended up taking my life. Whew. And it still angers me because it's like my autoimmune disease. It started its flare-up process and it pushed me to get help. And even though I had months and months and months of stress and trying to figure out what the hell was going on with my body, even though I hate it, it was saying, "Hey girl, something's wrong. We're trying to heal you. We're trying to stop whatever this is. We're causing you to be in pain because we need you to get this checked." So the one thing that I really want to put out there right now is, if you question it, you fight it, because at the end of the day, it could save your life. There was another situation last year, and I don't want to put a whole lot of information out there about this said person, but this person's father had put off something and just did not want to inconvenience his family. And he literally was diagnosed with something and he died from it 2 weeks later. Please get checked. Please get checked. The summer rolls around and I can barely move around. Feels like my uterus has fallen. Has completely fallen out. I got one of those ab binders, thanking God for that, and also not thanking God from that because I got an infection because it rubbed one of my stitches raw. So I ended up getting an infection from the waist trainer. So it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. So use it at your own risk after a hysterectomy. I had my stepson probably 75% of the summer. He loves going to the pool. We were homebound, so we put him in a lot of camps this past summer, and we promised them a trip to Six Flags as long as 100% your girl was okay to ride. I needed to get the clearance, and I got the clearance 1 week before going to Texas. This was also 3 weeks before any sexual activity was allowed to happen. We plan on going to Texas the week of my daughter's birthday so that we can enjoy a week with my stepsons. We can enjoy my daughter and do a birthday dinner. We also celebrated my husband the entire time and had friends and family and things over just to celebrate his birthday. His birthday is August 1st. My daughter's birthday is the 22nd of July. So it's like we were really looking forward to this trip. A day before the trip, after being cleared to get into a swimming pool, because I was freaking out about that, to be able to walk around, to be able to ride rides that would not end up hurting my abdomen. We are packing for Texas July 21st. It hurts a little, like my abdomen is a little sore at this point, but I don't think anything about it, because at this point, if I were to have this same cramping, it was normally due to Aunt Flo entering the building. Surprise, surprise. So I go to the bathroom. All right, thank you. We appreciate you. I am in the midst of packing. I go to the bathroom. I wipe, and there's a massive amount of blood. The blood was very similar to having the cycle all over again. But where is it coming from? Because there's no uterus to make the blood. So immediately I think internal bleeding. I'm bleeding internally. I overdid it. I was cleared for exercise. I was so looking forward to that because I had already gained 10 pounds. I was at 150 pounds during this process. Really just wanted to get back to exercising, moving my body, getting my mental health back to where it needed to be, my physical health back to where it needed to be. The weight just continued to build on me. I continued to be told, don't overdo it, don't overdo it. Your body just went through a massive surgery. I end up bleeding the day before this trip that I had been looking forward to. It was the light at the end of my tunnel. So again, my autoimmune disease, I am rushed to the emergency room, and the doctor ends up putting, I forget what it's called, I'll have to throw it up somewhere, the solution inside of me. From what I understand, it's like my scar tissue or something just had ruptured, and she went in, she put that stuff in there, and she said, okay, you're good. You should be good now. She said that the bleeding should go down to a minimum. I should be all good. I was like, how often does this happen after you have a full hysterectomy? And she said, it's a rarity. And I was like, yay! Yay me again. Something else happened. Yes, thank you. Thanks, fate. The day before a long 8-hour drive. Thank you, fate. I love this for us. Of course, this pushes back any sexual activity from 3 weeks to at least a month. I was terrified to get back into doing sexual activity, just as a heads up. All you women out there who get a full hysterectomy, I feel you. You're terrified. You don't know what your body feels like anymore. You get in your head. It was a lot. I wish, honestly, I would have had the means to put myself into therapy after that, because this is a very traumatic experience. And you definitely need someone to talk to, because your partner's not going to understand. They love you. They want to be intimate with you. But I was terrified, and that's all I can say. September hit, and I start running a massive fever. And we had kept COVID tests in the house because I think there was one or two instances where my stepson had gotten COVID, and we wanted to ensure that none of us were infected. So my husband went out and bought several tests, and we always kept some on hand. And something just didn't feel right about the way I was feeling. I either thought, one, I have the flu, which was probably the only thought in my brain, because I had gone many years of not having COVID. We had a little get together that September. There was a sweet little girl there. I won't disclose her name. She was very sick when she came over. We had this whole shebang at the house. It was very fun. We've started a new supper club. I was very excited to start hosting people here now that my health was in check. I wipe her little nose and I go about my way. And a week later, like less than a week later, I'm feeling like death. Something triggered in my head and said, take a COVID test. I had COVID. I had finally caught it. No, I did not get vaccinated because, one, of my autoimmune disease. And I am sick for a month and a half. So at this point, I had just steadily jumped back into working out, lifting weights finally again. But the water retention was ridiculous. My ankles hurt so bad. My hands were swelling. It was just awful. And the weight just continued to get its way with me. Again, I'm up to like 155 at this point, teetering between 150, 155 steadily around September, October. COVID said, nah, girl, you ain't working out. I continued to have a steady freaking cough until probably the end of November. The beginning of November. It was like 100 days cough after COVID. It was awful, and I hated it. I could barely work out. I could barely catch my breath. It was freaking awful. So we had planned on going to Mexico for my birthday again this year. We went to Cozumel. It was a great week, but I tried to set my sights on, okay, let's go ahead and get to this number, at least this number, maybe 150, maybe 145 before we leave. Did not reach that goal. I could not, for the life of me, get on a consistent schedule. I was trying to decorate for Christmas. I have a reaction channel, Sinister Southern Belle movie reaction rambles. I was trying to get movies recorded for the 2 weeks that we were going to be in Mexico. I was trying to get movies recorded for the 1 week we were in Texas. I overwhelmed myself. I did not hit my goal. While we were on vacation in Mexico, I told myself, you're going to get yourself organized, and you're going to get yourself so organized, you're going to get yourself ahead, and you're going to have a set schedule for 2025. And that was my resolution for this year. Came back from Mexico. I'm sitting at 160 pounds. A lot of it has to do with water retention. I didn't like really overeat or eat anything like terrible while I was there, but I did not allow myself to enjoy food while I was there. I was like, you know what? This is my last shebang. Fine. Eat what you want. Drink what you want. Because we're going to start off January running. We had 2 whole days here at the house, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, to prepare for our week in Texas so I could spend it with my daughter, so that that was the week we were to have my 2 stepsons, and we wanted to take them to Six Flags. So we took them to Six Flags Holiday in the Park. We took them to the Gaylord Hotel. We had a blast. Again, I did not restrict how much I was eating. We just got back last night. I weigh in this morning, and I am sitting at 167.4. I'll throw up my photos. Okay, dear me. Dear me, I'm sorry I failed you. I will not fail you again. I will not put off going to the doctor when something is wrong. I will listen to you when you are sick. And I will allow you to be the best running machine you have ever seen. And this is what this first form competition is going to help me do, because I've used them in the past and used their challenge to help motivate me to get my shit together and running. I ordered a treadmill while we were on vacation. It should be coming any day. I got the Know Your Worth challenge. I got the 31-day challenge through Angie Belmar. I am going to get myself so organized and ready. I am ready to hit the ground running. I survived 2024. I survived. When most people would be knocked on their ass, I did not allow myself to fall. My body let me down because I let me down. And that's not happening this go round. This is my submission video. This is my why. This is who I am. I am a mother of 3 beautiful daughters. I am a bonus mama to 2 wonderful sons. I have 3 cats, Binks, Bubs, and Lulu. Lulu, you have met. I have 2 wonderful dogs. We have Rue and baby girl, a golden retriever and a golden doodle. I have the most wonderful husband in the world who stuck by me during all of this chaos. Through all of that, he got diagnosed with liver disease, and he stuck by me, and he made sure that this was about the easiest transition we could possibly have. And he has watched me balloon all year, and he still looks at me like I'm just the most beautiful person he's ever seen. This is my fucking why. I lived, and now my body deserves to be healthy again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. If you have listened for this entire segment, go get yourself checked. I didn't even say that I also had my first mammogram this year, which came out great. Get yourself checked when you question something. Do not put it off. Your family deserves to see you healthy. Being healthy, exercising, eating right, that is not a sacrifice. This is a must for you. If you want to be the best parent, the best wife, the best husband, get yourself healthy, take care of your children, and teach them to be healthy as well so that they will survive. You owe that to your family. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Sorry for rambling. Thank you for sitting through my 2024 and my why for 2025. Fingers crossed that I kick this shit. Kick it.